Remember me, when the sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women is an ongoing epidemic. Indigenous women are 12 times more likely to be murdered or go missing than any other woman in Canada. To the left, you can see a diagram which will visually show you the chances of Indigenous women going missing or being murdered compared to any other woman. Indigenous women and girls are 3 times more likely to be victims of violence. There have been approximately 4,000 or more Indigenous murdered or missing women in the last 30 years, which is about 133 a year or 3 a week. In 2010, Métis artist Jamie Black began the Red Dress Project. Black gathered and hung hundreds of empty red dresses to represent the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in Canada. Red was chosen because it represents both vitality and violence. Black was also taught that red is the only color that spirits can see and which can be used to call the spirits of the lost back to reconnect with their loved ones. In 2019, a national inquiry named this crisis a genocide. The report found that regularly missing and murdered Indigenous women are stereotyped or stigmatized, and their families' concerns are dismissed. 4 years later, the government's lack of meaningful action to address these calls for justice continue to endanger the lives of Indigenous women. Indigenous women make up 16% of all female homicide victims and 11% of all missing women, even though Indigenous people only make up 4.3% of Canada. Diagram 1 shows you the comparison from Indigenous people to non-Indigenous people in Canada. And Diagram 2 shows you how Indigenous women significantly increase when it comes to murder stats. This diagram shows you murdered Indigenous women to murdered non-Indigenous women. Current data on missing and murdered Indigenous women misrepresents the scale of the issue, and statistics are not accurate. There's a lack of time and effort put into these investigations, many of which are then labeled not suspicious, unresolved, or are simply not recorded at all. In 2016, 5,712 missing and murdered Indigenous women cases were reported, but only 116 were logged in the Department of Justice database. Unfortunately, 95% of cases are never covered by national or international media. May 5th, National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. This is the day you pay your respect to the victims, you raise awareness for the crisis, you call on the governments to take action, you wear red, you hang red dresses, and we march. However, awareness isn't just once a year thing. Awareness is making sure your friends get home safe. Awareness is raising your kids to respect women and look out for them. Awareness is condemning your abusive homies. And remember, always keep the conversations going. Behind every missing and murdered Indigenous woman is her sacred bloodline, and it's us who need to band together and demand the justice that they deserve.